Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast. This is the Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast.
G'day and welcome to the Trader Cobb Crypto Show. Hope you're having a great start and middle of your day. I didn't do an update on my Malaysia presentation because something is quite topical, quite interesting. I probably won't take too long to go through, but I went to Malaysia, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, and I was the only crypto presenter at an event that was all around trading. So everything was a sort of foreign exchange, bonds. There was even some property in there, which was strange to me. But what I did notice was this, right? Huge groups of people. I mean, it was a busy event. There's a lot of people there, so that's one thing. But when I walked through all the stands, because you know when you go to these events, they've got all the, I guess you'd call them sponsors, you know, people selling this or that or trying to get you on their platform or, you know, all that sort of stuff. That's kind of what makes the events. People wander around and chat with this person and that person, find out that product and this product. And it's really good for meeting people, finding new things in the industry and sort of just, I guess a bit of camaraderie because, you know, aside from places where, you know, you've got a focused group, like, for example, the Slack groups that we have, that's a very targeted group of people that are there to trade the same strategies that we teach. Now, that's just one example of that, one that I use. So you do get a lot of like-minded people in there, but I can tell you when I was learning to trade, or even when I was not learning, when I was trading even a couple of years ago, I had Skype and I had a couple of people in Skype. And one of the things that I found really difficult was to actually, before I had these 3 or 4 people, there wasn't anybody. So you're trading and you're following these strategies and you're in this position where you sometimes let doubt creep in. You also get a bit bored. I mean, look, when you start trading, it's wonderfully exciting. There's a lot to learn and you're pretty pumped, to be honest with you. But you also make a lot of mistakes, and it's really good to have some support there, some people to bounce ideas off, and just sometimes it's important to maybe just have a chat to somebody so you don't actually have to focus on the market all the time. So you're going to these events, especially in traditional markets, we go to these events to try and find people, to talk to people, to get the hell out of our tiny little offices. If you're a home trader, you know what I'm talking about. You can go a little bit loopy, you can get stuck in YouTube holes, and this is the reality of a home trader. So I'm there at this event anyway, walking around. And you know what? I was really shocked by the amount of platforms and brokers these days that are actually got crypto offerings. I was like, wow, this is not a crypto event. This is not a blockchain event. This is not an event that I'm used to going to, which is very specific to the blockchain and crypto space. This was a trading event. So that sort of took me back a little bit. One of the other things that I found really interesting was that I had the biggest crowd. Okay, so I went and watched some of the events before my slot. I went into the room. I wanted to suss out what the audience was like, if they're reactive, how they respond. Are they really like an American audience, which is very, very enthusiastic? Even, an Australian audience can be very enthusiastic, once you warm them up a little bit. The audience was relatively quiet, but they were engaged. So that was interesting from my point as well. They're relatively quiet, but very engaged. Anyway, it came to my turn to talk. We had the room. It was pretty much full, not many spare seats there, and I just had a bit of fun with the presentation. I really enjoyed it. The idea and the message behind it was, listen, guys, you trade traditional markets. Many of you here, who's new, who's not, get the hands, that sort of thing, work out who the crowd is. You got these people looking at you with their hands up. Some are scared to put their hands up. They're sitting back and it's a little bit scary, and I get that. It's cool. I understand. It was a bit of fun. And then what you notice is that, you start to get a feel for who's been around a while. Now, most people, or say half the room, raise their hand saying that they're relatively new at trading. So you know that 75% of the room is too, because half that raised their hand, there'll be another half on top of that didn't raise their hand that are new. So I knew I had a fairly new audience. Now, the thing with crypto is when you're learning to trade foreign exchange, man, the moves aren't as big. So, you might take 5 trades, and out of those 5 trades, you might have 3 stinkers. But you get one profitable that might give you a 2% return. You're still down if you're risking 1% because, you've taken 4 bad trades, or say 5. You've taken 5 trades. Out of those 5 trades, 3 have cost you, one's break even and one's made you 2%. So you end up being down 2%. All right. Now in crypto, that one that makes you 2% makes you 10%. Now, of course, that's a generalization, but that's just to give you some perspective on the difference of the markets and the way that they move. So effectively, the message was you can be relatively crap at trading in this market and still have a better chance of success. And then I took them through the EOS Bitcoin trade at the start of the year that we had up on the market view for my members. And there was 2 trades there. One of them was when you scale out, it did a 14x. So, that's relative to risk. So if you risk 1,000, you would have made 14,000 while scaling out at 50%, meaning Sorry, scaling 50% at 1-to-1, meaning you would be at risk-free trade very early. The second one that popped up a few days later after the first one became risk-free ended up being a 29 times your risk move. Of course, you scale out and you end up at about 15%. Now, out of these two trades, you're looking at, over 30 or just shy of 30% return. That's at scaling out on two trades. And these were they weren't even special. They were just trades. Some we don't know when they're going to take off. That's why we do the scale out. We manage our risk first and then we let the market run. And this is what I was sort of trying to show people. And you could see people, they were getting it and they were following along. And, there was a lot of enthusiasm in that room. I think there's still a bit of a void, a bit of a gap for a lot of the people that was like, well, I don't really know how to get into this. But when I showed them that it's just charting, it's just raising orders, and the example I give is when you start to trade in any market, the first order you raise in stocks, it's hard, it's daunting, it's scary. Same with FX, same with bonds, same with any market at all. It's always daunting when you start. But like Zig Ziglar says, I love this quote, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Now, if you trade other markets and you're not trading crypto, or if you're about to start trading crypto, stop thinking about it and start doing it, because the sooner you start, the sooner you'll make the mistakes and the sooner you'll get better at it. So the overall perspective that I got, the view that I got, a lot of people wanted to talk to me after. It was really well received. I got a lot of feedback. It was really good. A lot of the booths came in and watched me talk as well. It was a really cool event. The fact is, the message that I gave to them was, this is the right market for you if you're new, and if you're not new, you should be here already. It was well received. I had a great time, and I'll definitely be going back to Malaysia. It was a pretty cool place. I didn't get to explore too much of it. I did the following day, did a little day in the life of. I'll get the video out to you guys once it's all edited. But there's definitely a lot of interest coming from that space, not just from the people in the room that were listening, i.e. the retail traders, but also a lot of those booths are now offering crypto as a tradable product. The space is growing, and we were there first. Have a good day. Bye for now.
The Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast. Check out tradercobb.com because experience matters.